Welcome to Terror in Tandem, a podcast about finding entertainment in the macabre, hosted by the knowledgeable and lovable Laura and Richard Mathiasen. Each episode we discuss the horror genre, from books to film to TV and beyond, sometimes even from the beyond. You can find us on YouTube at Terror in Tandem, on Instagram at Terror in Tandem, and you'll always find our latest episode on our website, our fantastically modified and very compelling website, terrorintandem.com.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
It's just a placeholder, people.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
You want something better, you give us something. That is a like, a subscribe. Send your favorite episode to somebody who you think might like this.
Real nice podcast you've got here.
And welcome to all our new listeners.
Hello.
I'm going to keep welcoming new listeners.
Welcome. Yes. Welcome to our YouTube listeners.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of you.
We can see you through your camera.
Oh.
And I really think you should put those pants on.
Did we not mention that? I disagree. Take them off. Let it fly.
Yeah. When it's YouTube, it means like I can see you through the tube of your TV.
That is something that the public doesn't really understand, is that when you make a creator channel, YouTube gives you access to...
What's a tranroll?
We're just moving right past that. We're blowing right through our speech impediments. So...
Back to the tranroll.
When
you make a tranroll.
Well, you know, when you make a YouTube channel, a lot of people don't understand that they actually give you access to everyone's computer that ever logs on, so you can remotely watch your stuff.
Yeah, it's YouTube. That means you're on TV for me to watch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's separate from my Only Richard's account,
right,
which you have to be Richard to log into. It's really just me looking at pictures of me.
Yeah.
My therapist is really, she might write a book about it.
Oh, what I wanted to say the other day, speaking of Richards, is, Dix.com. Dix.com. Like Dix, the show, the story, the store.
The sports store?
Yeah.
The store that I go to a lot because I'm sports?
It's Dix.com.
It's really called, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm afraid to Google Dix.com.
Well, just go straight to Dix.com. I think that's mean, because if you're typing in Dix.com, I don't think your expectation is...
You don't want to buy a basketball necessarily.
Yeah, like catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
That's a different website.
Dix, I guess Dix sportinggoods.com. I've done it. I've taken the dick in the mouth for you all.
Goodness.
It is Dix.com.
Yeah.
It's also Dick's Sporting Goods, all one word.com.
Oh, they probably just buy up a bunch of things. Whatever you mash into your keyboard in your frenzied look for a new mouth guard.
But hey, more power to them. Dix.com.
I disagree. I think it's manipulative and mean. If you are typing in Dix,
if you're typing in Dix.com, then I feel like...
What? It's like your first attempt at the internet.
Yeah.
Dirtypictures.gov.
Boobies.com.
Yeah, exactly. This is how this works, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, what are we up for today, everyone?
Definitely nothing we've been talking about. We're welcoming the May flowers that follow the April showers with some recommendations.
Yeah, for sure.
We are recommending blood showers.
Our May coming attraction.
Yeah. Like that rave scene in Blade?
Yeah.
And they turn on all the blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Carrie, which will come in later.
Nice.
Because
something's
coming. Something wicked.
Nice. So yeah, we're looking forward to May. I love spring because I hate winter so very much. And it's finally happening, people.
It is.
I might stop shivering for a moment.
Maybe. But I can guarantee you won't stop shivering this month because of all the horror.
In Fear. I'm going to do this chronologically.
Me too.
We didn't even plan that, folks.
Not chronologically. Timeologically.
Yes, that's the word.
Datalogically.
Yes. So May 3rd.
Maybe I should start then because mine's May 2nd.
Oh, God. This is going so well. May 3rd is my first recommendation. It's coming to theaters from director Jane Schoenbraun. And it's I Saw the TV Glow. Now, it's another A24 banger. And just a side note, now that A24 is like legit big, I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, Civil War really kind of pushed them into the AAA mainstream, which, you know, I don't know. I just hope that they keep doing the weird stuff, which I Saw the TV Glow definitely fits the weird label. So the director's debut was the sort of really interesting, weird, We're All Going to the World's Fair, which is streaming now on Max, the platform that has always been known as Max, that has never had another name.
Does it take place in Chicago?
No. So it's We're All Going to the World's Fair is this very low-key kind of experimental movie that is largely a girl just online discovering this weird community and kind of becoming like having it change her a little bit. I don't want to give too much away. It's an experience. So director Jen Schoenbraun, she specializes in this kind of subgenre of a subgenre that's known as liminal horror. Mm-hmm. And it's like the spaces between, the horror of the moments between moments, that shadow just in the corner of your eye, that weird sense of non-belonging. And she really specializes in tapping into this sense of isolation, loneliness, and disassociation that I think is timeless, but it's very hard to describe. It's very modern, so it's very tailored towards Gen Z, but it also has this kind of throwback analog feel to it. It's almost like a marriage between Gen X and Gen Z, but with a real focus on sort of like losing yourself and in the process of trying to discover yourself. And it's also really creepy and weird. So anyway, I Saw the TV Glow is a bigger budget for her, and it's got Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne, starring as two friends living in the suburbs, obsessed with this weird pirate TV show called The Pink Opaque. And it's like this very bizarre show that is for kids, but it's also way too scary and violent to really be for kids. And not everybody watches it, but the people that do seem to become like weirdly obsessed with it. So as they become like young adults, they start to become, especially Bridget Lundy Payne's character gets really obsessed with finding the show. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it really plays with, using very stunning visual imagery to, portray this loss of identity and self and like obsession with entertainment and TV and things like that. I mean, Gen X and Gen Z are both generations raised by media. Same with the boomers. That's what they said about them. It was the first generation raised by TV. So this is just sort of following along on that exploration of what that does to you, emotionally, psychologically, through the horror angle. The trailer is amazing. It looks really weird and really stunning. I can't wait for this one. I really like Justice Smith. He's very charming and has this kind of like nerdy quality to him that I find really endearing in his characters. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure I've seen him in a horror movie before, so I'm interested in this. Again, it's weird, it's trippy, it's not going to be for everybody. It's A24, baby.
Awesome.
I Saw the TV Glow, May 3rd. Definitely watch the trailer. If you don't like the trailer, I think you're not going to like the movie. It's one of those, it really definitely sets the vibe, and it's a particular vibe.
Awesome. Love it. Well, my first comes out May 2nd, and it's called Tarot, and it's a film. Well, it could have been a book. Or
I know.
A TV show.
I just like the way you said it.
So it was originally called Horoscope, based on a book of the same name by Nicholas Adams. I
get it.
Yeah. Like, I prefer tarot.
I think so too. I think you really, you walk a razor thin line when you're using wordplay for a horror movie.
Yeah.
It like can really take all seriousness out of it.
It was filmed in Serbia. And it is directed by Anna Hallberg and Spencer Cohen.
Okay.
Fairly new folks, I think, to the horror genre. Starring Humberly Gonzalez, Avantika, who goes by just Avantika, and she is in Sex Lives of College Girls, in the new Mean Girls, and she's a pretty popular Bollywood actress.
Okay.
And Olwen Fourier.
Ooh, love her.
Yeah,
yes.
from Mandy and the Northmen.
From All Awesome Things, the Irish actor. She's so good. She's so good. But she really does get cast as a pretty particular person.
Yeah, so when
she was in
tell
Sea
you
Fever,
the
too.
plot about this, you'll pretty much know who she plays, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm guessing the scary old lady with gray hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about a group of friends who all get together and they end up doing a tarot reading together, but they violate the one primary sacred rule of tarot readings, which is you're never supposed to use someone else's deck.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Because your own deck is supposed to carry with it the power of the holder.
It's
the
tarot
owner.
taboo.
And they're the ones that read it, so that when you get a tarot reading, often you may be asked to hold the deck or cut the deck, because then that transfers some of your energy to it.
Yeah.
But you're not really supposed to do a reading of someone else's tarot deck.
Yeah. No, it's like I love those, spooky rules, like you have to close the loop after a summoning. You can't break the circle, that kind of stuff.
So
and
I think
everybody always does.
Some of that happens in the film.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
they find this very old deck, and after using it, they find out that they've unleashed something terrible.
Ruh-roh.
And they have to encounter the fate as told by their reading.
I'm guessing one of them
by
pulls the
one.
death card.
Probably.
Yeah.
But like the Hanged Man, I'm sure.
Or cups.
Even though those aren't always like a one-to-one literal representation of what they actually mean.
Based on the original title, Horror Scope, I'm guessing subtlety is not the primary focus here.
Yeah, but it looks, entertaining and silly, and just, sometimes I like to watch those escape room movies.
Yeah.
Or some of the more just, you don't really have to think too much.
Not
but it's a horror
everything
movie.
has to be, Hereditary.
No, please not. Actually, I prefer it not
Honestly,
all be hereditary.
the
It's
greatest,
it takes a lot out of you.
amazing experience.
But this looks just like a fun, in and out, easy horror movie that,
Absolutely.
could be. So it sounds like a cross between what's that one where it's like all the accidents happen? And
Final Destination?
Yeah, a cross between Final Destination and maybe like Ouija or something.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's like it's something you have playing in the background when you're sharpening your machete or like trying to get the bloodstains out of your carpet.
You're gross.
Listen, life is gross, okay? I just live in the real world.
Do you?
No, absolutely. As little as possible, honestly. And I recommend the same for everyone listening.
What's your next up?
Yay! Oh boy, this one, I'm really excited about this. I have to admit, it came out of nowhere for me. I did not know it was even made. It was apparently released last year in its native Denmark, but it's coming out in America on May 17th on our dearly beloved Shudder. I do, Shudder. I do. Forever. Anyway, of course, obviously, Denmark, Shudder, surprise. I'm talking about director Ole Bornedal's Night Watch, Demons Are Forever. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because it's a sequel to the classic 1994 Night Watch, which was the debut of both Ole Bornedal, who's been a genre director ever since, and our beloved Jamie Lannister. It was the first film with Nikolai Coster-Waldau, so real young in this one, 1994. Now, Night Watch was about Nikolai Walder-Kostow plays Martin, who is a law student, takes a job as a night watchman in a morgue because he figures, I can do my homework because nobody's here.
Right.
Unfortunately, a crazy guy named Vermeer is butchering prostitutes and doing things with the body, and
I don't like that.
All of this is, unfortunately, in the eyes of the Copenhagen police, leading back to Martin. So Martin becomes suspect number one. And this all culminates in a pretty climactic battle between Vermeer, Martin, and Martin's girlfriend, who then becomes his wife. So flash forward several decades later to this surprise sequel. So now we follow Martin's daughter, who's played by Fanny Leander Bornedal. And yes, that is Ole Bornedal's daughter, I believe. So, following in that classic tradition like Dario Argento with Asia and Dario Nicolodi. Family, it's a family business.
To bring up Asia
I understand. But anyway, so his daughter gets a job at the same morgue, which you'd think, what? And Martin is not happy about this. But turns out his daughter does that very purposefully because the traumatic events of that night back in 1994 led to, Martin basically being fucked up for life. He's addicted to pills now, and his wife commits suicide. So Martin's daughter's mom. So she gets this job to find Vermeer, and she does. And she confronts him, and unfortunately, things don't go to plan because she's, an amateur. And Vermeer gets his bloodlust reignited and starts his reign of terror all over again. And Martin has to jump back into this world. So anyway, it looks like a really cool dive back into this universe. Now, the thing about Night Watch that really is fascinating to me is in 1997, Ole Bornedal remade his own movie in America with Ewan McGregor and Nick Nolte, and that was called Night Watch. It's a straight-up remake. It's okay, but it's not as good as the original. It's just got more of a budget. This movie, though, after watching the trailer, really feels like Bornedal finally, after all these years, making the movie he really wanted to. Because the original Night Watch is great, but it's flawed. It's a debut movie, and it's from the 90s, and it has aged a little bit. This seems like, after 30 more years of experience directing, many movies and shows and, with more money and more credibility, it feels like him returning to the story and telling the story he always wanted to tell.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. I love Nikolai Coster-Waldau. I love the original Night Watch. My dad's family, came to America from Denmark. So when I was a teenager, I sought out as many Danish horror things as possible. So this was like a really important movie to me when I was a kid, and I'm psyched to see this.
Awesome.
Yeah. Night Watch. Demons are forever.
Well, what's not forever is this segment of the podcast. We're going to take a break. Picture this. It's a cold, rainy night. Your mom is sitting next to you at your bedside. You're feverish, tossing and turning, and just not quite feeling yourself. What's the one thing you know will make you feel better? Reagan's home-style pea soup. A recipe as old as time that's been unearthed and packaged for your own kitchen or cauldron. Blended to perfection, this easily digestible and regurgitatable soup will help you keep those demons at bay. With just a single serving, you will be satisfied and sanctified. With Reagan's home-style pea soup, you can be free from the pressures of the divine and stop filtering your true beliefs. Just let it all go. This is a fake ad for a fake product on a horror-themed podcast. We do not condone nor endorse possession or exorcism. And we're back.
Hello.
So my next recommendation is a collection of short stories.
Oh, goodness.
By a lesser-known author named Stephen King.
Yes. a real up-and-comer.
Yeah, called You Like It Darker.
Can't fucking
It's a
wait.
direct response to all of you people out there that are like, Stephen King's not really writing horror the way he used to.
Oh,
Well, guess what? He is. So some of these stories have already been published, so you could probably read some of them or excerpts of them. But it's a collection of 12 stories. About half, I think, maybe a third have been published and the rest are unpublished.
Nice.
Now to be published.
yeah. That's the best when you get a couple of new ones
Yeah.
with the collection. It's like, that's why you buy it.
It comes out May 21st. And it dives into the darker aspects of life, both literally and figuratively, like fate, morality, luck. It spans about 500 pages, which is a great collection.
Those are some chunky stories.
Yeah. And King, as he usually does, gives the reader snakes, ghosts of long dead children, man-eating alligators,
Yes.
serial killers, plummeting airplanes, mad scientists, and mistaken identity.
I'm extremely aroused.
He also offers insights about fickleness of talent, the unrealized dreams, pain and pleasure of relationships, and the meaning and meaninglessness of life, and of course, death. So, you know, he's gonna go deep, as he usually does.
I mean, he once wrote a story about a haunted laundry folding machine, so this seems a little high concept.
So Rattlesnakes is a sequel to Cujo,
Oh, fuck.
and it follows a grief-stricken man, Vic Trenton, who was a businessman for most of the original Cujo, and he went on a business trip, leaving his wife and son behind.
Oh, yeah.
So now he is a widower,
Yeah.
and he takes a trip to Florida where he receives a strange inheritance, and there are conditions on the inheritance that take a turn,
Man.
a very dark turn.
This dude has shitty luck.
And I think Stephen King might have a vacation home in Florida these days. So
I mean,
like,
he's an old
I
guy
think
from the
some
Northeast.
of these stories
so.
are going to take place in Florida, which if anybody can expose the dark underbelly of Florida, it's Stephen King.
I don't even think that's necessary. Just go to Florida for a few minutes. I can't wait. This is like Stephen King angrily reminding us that, hey, remember how I traumatized an entire generation of people and made you afraid of made you universally afraid of clowns?
Yeah.
Well,
this
I'm
is
back, baby, and I never went away.
Because this year, 2024, marks the 50th anniversary of his first published novel, Carrie.
Wow.
Yes.
50 years at the top of the game. I mean, that's amazing.
And The Answer Man is about being able to see the future and the consequences of this on both the teller and the told, the good things that happen and the curses, and examining both sides of this gift, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there are, obviously I said 12. Those are just a couple. Again, you can maybe read some excerpts online, but this comes out May 21st.
12 stories, 12 apostles.
Yeah.
Stephen King of man.
Oh, boy. Right. His second coming.
Exactly.
So his return.
It's all Stephen
hasn't
King
gone
is
anywhere.
Jesus.
He's
Stephen
great.
King is Jesus. We all knew this.
We did. So check it out. I will.
I can't. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because of the the cantankerous nature of the title of oh yeah. You think I've lost it?
Well, he's a big fan of Leonard Cohen, and Leonard Cohen has a song called "You Want It Darker." So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that this is a little nudge to
Yeah,
that.
that makes sense. I mean, Leonard Cohen was pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
And amazing. I can't wait. It's like it's like when you go to a restaurant and you order something really spicy and they warn you about it and you just do it anyway. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I was not prepared for this. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't
me
wait
too.
for Stephen King to just terrify me again. You know, his work has been really amazing lately, but it's been a while since he's scared the crap out of me.
I mean, Holly, I thought was pretty
I didn't, you know what?
unsettling.
Maybe I just need to read more.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a while since he has had something malevolent.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like human nature. I don't know. I would argue that he's never stopped, but he has pivoted. And this is a sort of response to some of his dark and deep horror fans from,
I think I might have said excited.
He always talks to us readers.
Constant reader. All right. My last one for May. Man, May is really, it's going to be awesome. It is
maybe
coming out on May 31st on Shudder. It's director Robert Morgan's stop motion. Now, Robert Morgan is himself a stop motion animator. I think this is his first live action movie. And I love stop motion animation. I love it. It is such a fascinating art form. It is so painstaking to create. Really just takes forever. But Phil
if
Tippett's...
anybody watched the episode of Requiem for a Tuesday on Parks and Rec, you do really know.
Or, the stop motion episode of Community was really great.
Yeah, but they actually did that to completion.
They did.
Ben Wyatt spent 2 weeks on...
Yeah, and he didn't even get through the opening line of Stand. So... Anyway, I love stop motion. Harry Selick, Ray Harryhausen, the Aardman films. It's just, it takes such dedication, such care, and such commitment. I could never do a thing like that. It's to create something that I'm not sure is like as appreciated as it should be. Anyway, also check out Phil Tippett's Mad God. That's on Shudder. It's incredible and dark and weird. Yeah. So in stop motion, Aisling Francosi plays Ella. She's a stop motion animator whose mother, another stop motion animator, she's working on a project that she's struggling with because she's got the arthritis. And also she has a stroke and goes into a coma, which makes stop motion animation very difficult to do. So Ella steps in to finish. Her boyfriend Tom offers for her to move in while she's going through this, but instead she gets a studio apartment and basically just dedicates her entire life to making this movie. Nice. It doesn't go very well, and a young girl from the building kind of wanders in and suggests she change the story to one about a girl lost in the woods. Mm-hmm. And Ella decides, yeah, I'm going to. So she changes the story, meaning she has to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So she loses touch with her friends and disconnects more and more and becomes more obsessed with this movie. And then the girl starts making suggestions like, why don't you use spoiled meat to make the puppets or animal parts? And, it's like that kind of movie. Ella's fragile psyche seems to unravel and shatter. It's of that wonderful subgenre, watch a lady lose her mind for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Classics like Repulsion, the more recent Censor. You just basically watch an artistic woman go bananas for a couple of hours. And that is my jam. I love that.
Yeah, sounds pretty awesome.
It's an amazing genre of film. So this is, it's made by somebody who has, like I said, an extensive background in stop motion. And it seems sort of like a personal tale of the absolute agony of creating something like this, the intensity of working hours and hours on 1 second of footage, and then spreading that out to a full-length film. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to watching this. It actually premiered in February, but it didn't play anywhere near me. So it's coming to Shudder May 31st. I should mention, I think there's an LSD trip in this, so it's that kind of movie. It's like really hallucinatory, and I think it sort of plays with your perception of what's going on, what is real. Ella is certainly an unreliable narrator. I think she's going bonkers. It's a cool trailer, and listen, my recommendations this month might not be super mainstream, but I think if you're looking for something different, if you're a little tired of or feeling a little stagnant, any one of the choices I've thrown out there I can guarantee at least it will kick out the cobwebs, you know?
Well, that's why this is Terror in Tandem, because we offer both sides of
We do.
options.
We do. For the nice, normal person who likes, maybe has a dark side, or for just the full-on creep.
Yeah.
I've got you covered.
Oh, well, my last is coming out right at the end of May 31st. It's called In a Violent Nature, and it's an indie film, and it pretty much killed it at Sundance. I guess it premiered at Sundance in January.
It has been getting a lot of buzz.
Yes.
It's something I'm looking forward to as well.
So it's written and directed by Chris Nash. I believe it's Canadian, largely Canadian cast, Canadian writer-director, and it's been called an ambient slasher. And Chris Nash is fairly new to the horror world, and it's starring Rye Barrett. And again, I mentioned largely a Canadian cast.
Yeah.
So,
Indie, these are up and comers.
so the killer is mute, and the film is largely taking place from the killer's perspective, which I'm not sure that we've had many slashers of this nature.
The only one I
or
can
from
think
this
of,
perspective.
Peeping Tom is one, and Maniac, where you literally are watching through the POV of the killer in both of those movies. But you're absolutely right.
And
it's
slasher by nature. I mean, we've had some films from like the perspective of a killer.
The focus is usually on the survivors or victims.
Correct. And this is really interesting because the killer is mute, so you're not going to hear him speak. But I'm not sure if they're going to do like an internal dialogue. Just because he can't speak doesn't mean he won't have an internal dialogue.
I know also that this film has no soundtrack.
I was going to mention that. There's no musical score in the film at all.
Which I'm interested.
The director,
There's a couple of unique things going on in this movie.
The director, Chris Nash, said that he was inspired by Gus Van Sant's films, Jerry and Elephant.
Yeah.
Which show,
as long as it's not Psycho. Anything but Psycho.
Which show the deliberate and calculated choices made by the character. So I think we're going to... this reminds me of the book, Joyce Carol Oates' book, Zombie, of which we really
one
had,
of my favorites.
From a perspective of a serial killer. I mean, it was all of his insight and perspective and darkness, and it took a while for you to even make sense of everything that was happening. Cause
it's like a Jeffrey Dahmer simulator.
Yeah.
It's very fucking wow. It's a hardcore book.
So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be like a slow-paced film. So it's not going to be like a crazy, frenetic slasher like we're used to. We need to evolve in horror. So I think this is sort of a step in that direction of the evolution of a slasher. We haven't seen many, with Stephen Graham Jones' book collections of the Indian Lake trilogy, we have seen a little bit of modification of the slasher genre.
I mean, the resurgence of the Scream franchise, which is famous for deconstructing the slasher.
So we're starting to see this new slasher emerge,
I'm
which
all
I think
for
is
it.
really interesting.
If, even if it doesn't quite hit...
This is going in the right direction.
I think,
you know what I mean?
exactly. Just the fact that this playground still exists, that despite the fact that most media seems to be made by like 3 companies now, we're still getting these, big swings.
Absolutely. So check that out at the end of the month.
I'm excited. And I'll be honest, the slasher genre is my least favorite kind of horror movie. And I am very much looking forward to this because of what you just said. It looks like something new.
Yeah, it does. And it's, honestly, that genre has been the slowest, I think, to change and evolve. I think we've had pretty prescriptive slashers for the past 3 decades.
It's more, I think, the low-hanging fruit of it is like all you need is a cool weapon or a cool mask and then insert, But
like we've
victims.
started to see some of these subversive and, little twist imaginings of the slasher genre, like with Bodies,
Yeah.
which was, a slasher but not.
These are filmmakers who grew up watching, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers, and now as adult filmmakers, they're like, well, what can I offer to this genre? How can I make it mine?
Yeah. So as just an effort to, bring about some change and some modernity to this subgenre of horror.
Fresh
happy
meat.
Yeah.
For the grinder.
I mean,
blood for the blood.
You always
god.
wonder, like, does the slasher ever rest? I'm doubting that you're going to see them like cleaning their blades
poop.
Or anything. Yeah. Well, it's not going to be that, but the intentionality,
sitting on the can, reading an issue of like Slashers Monthly.
Because we often see that, the killer in a slasher film is just like constantly cutting down, mowing down. But if there's going to be intentionality and decision making by this point of view, then I'm interested to see it.
And if it's inspired by Gus Van Sant, almost certainly there's going to be a scene of someone masturbating furiously alone in a room.
Maybe it's going to be the slasher.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something to look forward to, I guess. Anyway.
Check it out. Check out anything and everything we recommended in May.
Oh, it's mandatory. If you listen to this, you are legally bound to consume all the content.
And we'll know because we're watching you on YouTube.
Absolutely, we will know.
See you next time.
Bye.
Or see you in your living room.
We actually can see you right now.
Terror in Tandem is written, produced, and recorded by Laura and Richard Mathiasen, and edited and mixed by Richard Mathiasen. Our theme was written and performed by Carrie Denver, and all other music was written and performed by David Hispanic. All opinions expressed on this podcast are our own and should be taken as such. Thanks for listening, and please remember to give us a like, a review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. We're